Okay, I'll help you. This is yours. Right. Call the meeting to order. The Handbook Committee. We have a quorum. Thank you, quorum. Let's start out by looking at, well, first of all, I have to say, roll call. Let's do that.
Paul Foster, District 3.
Okay.
Stacey Rogers, Treasurer's Office.
Harry Hampton, County Clerk's Office.
Leanne Hines, Assessor's Office.
Rick Buchanan, clerk. We have a quorum. Notice of the meeting was posted on May 7th, 2025. Item 1 is approval of minutes.
Motion approved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. That's done. I want to take a moment here to read the email that I got from Lisa in the West real quick. Yesterday, I believe, see, right, you sent this out as part of the agenda. Here's to explain what she sent out on the proposed handbook, or the start of the new proposed handbook. Everything in red has been added or modified from the sample policy and made to match Oklahoma County. That helps make sense to you. If it's highlighted in yellow, I'm suggesting it be checked for language or policy decisions. She also added a telework policy and social media policy. Very broad and generic, is what she said. She said, I think this is a good start, but you may want to double check what was left out, since this Oklahoma County policy goes longer and further than its simplified version. And she's out of town, so we have been blessed. Over here. Hiding behind you. So anybody need me to repeat what's in red, what's in yellow? I have asked IT, I have asked HR for their telework policy, and what's the other one? Social media. I think HR proposed one, and like the policy and governance, and it kind of got stuck there or rejected or something. So I've received nothing back. So I appreciate Lisa's effort in that area. So that said, let's take up item 2. Now, it's way too early for anyone to have processed all of this in 24 hours. But I know, Ms. Hudson, you found something or something like that. If anybody's got any red flags, bring them up now so we can talk about them. And
as far as the telework thing went at E&G, if I remember correctly, we were we voted to stick with the governor's plan for everybody to be back to work. However, if there were individual circumstances by department in which somebody needed to work from home or whatever, then as long as they sent in a written justification and report to us quarterly on the progress of that, if any changes need to be made or whatever, then we did that. MIS was the only one that came to us and said, we need people to work from home because we just don't have enough space to put everybody. So that was the only ones that I'm aware of.
we'll see how what this says. I read through it yesterday. Retention level is about less than.
Well, and like on
the executive order from the governor, the executive order does not mention like subsidiary government,
Yeah, we
divisions.
were just adopting his order.
So Ms. Hudson, tell us what page.
It said, I've had a very limited review of it, but on page 38, under the vacation leave, of course, it still shows that, we have, the accrual hours, but then it has removed that, an employee will be paid for the balance of accrued leave, and upon separation, and says that they will not be entitled to a payout of accumulated vacation leave, which is I think, removing a huge benefit from the county employees. And can you even legally not pay somebody for their leave time that they've accrued?
Well, I know it's been the policy in this county for the longest time. And that's why this time of year, usually when you see those transfers in the budget, it's because there's been some employees leave or retire and they've got a bunch of vacation time and there's these payouts. That was the reason we had to move some money in the last budget board. We had a long time employee leaves. Carrie, you have any hint why Lisa may have
Of that.
put that in there? Yeah,
Wrong,
the
Carrie.
other Carrie.
Carrie
Yeah.
with a C.
No, I'm not, but I will tell you that. Excuse me. Apologize, my
It's
allergies.
okay.
The Department of Labor, their standards are that if the benefit is earned, then it should be paid. But you can have a policy where if it's not earned, it's forfeit. So you just have to make sure in the policy. And I think the way annual leave being paid is considered earned or sick leave was not. But I mean, whatever you're going to do, it has to be, and it comes down to whether or not it's earned or separation.
Well, and it says vacation leave must be earned before it is taken. So
Right,
we're saying that vacation leave is an earned benefit, and
right,
it always has been.
right. Yeah, there's no vacation will be 10 consecutive working days. I mean,
So therefore, option one needs to be taken out, not two, correct?
right.
Correct.
So we want to Paul and Carrie at this table. We like option one. No, wait, we like option one being stricken and option two being taken, correct?
Correct.
Someone like to make a motion?
I will make a motion
Second.
to include option one, but not stated as option. And take out, or, no, I'm sorry, other way around. To eliminate option one, strike option one, and include option two.
Is there a second? Right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. And that's on page 38 of the current.
Attachment.
draft that we're
Right.
using. Proposed employee handbook. Okay, that's a good catch. Thank you, Ms. Hudson. I saw it yesterday. I was like, whoa.
That's what I did.
Has anybody else caught anything that you've seen in this handbook? I think that was the one that jumped out at me.
And I have not gone through it, so.
It's just hard to kind of process some of this. All right.
So I guess just kind of catching up to, so this draft policy, it says AOCC,
Association of County Commissioners.
a sample form.
Yeah.
But I thought in the last, maybe meeting before last or something, that we were gonna look at like several samples from like Tulsa and maybe other counties or other.
I believe
Has
in our
any-
last meeting, and I can double check in minutes, we voted to take a look at this and have it customized because it's being used across the state in the majority of counties. And so you have some,
Did you get this off the Echo
yeah,
site?
because you have some legal standing and cases around the state that can be useful. So,
I think when we were talking about looking at all of the others was before we knew that this was a thing. And then we found out this was a thing. Wait,
yeah,
let's look at this one then.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how the progression of that went.
the whole idea of Gary at the table, Gary, is it's things like, I know in here that I've got under item 3, admin leave. You want the definition to be short. The policy side of it, number one, I was talking to Christy Ray yesterday in my office. And I said, as in the county handbook, you just want a few lines. Then we go ask DA their opinion on everything. Then we go to the budget board and say, all right, here's some legally defined admin leaves. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Or do you want one from column A, one from column B? How do they want from a policy to have that in Tyler Munis? That's the only deal is we need going to Tyler Munis that there's some drop down menu and an option for that. That is a budget board policy. That's not a, that's not, that's
This
up
should
to
just
them.
be more of an umbrella,
Yeah, we're
Yes.
offering you this
and then the departments can
and discuss.
adopt their policies under the.
Yeah, we're not trying to, what we're trying to do is be able to defend and protect the county when we're audited or whatever, say, why did Ricky Cannon take off from June 2nd to July 1? Well, he was out on FMLA and he had knee surgery. And there's something in there that's not admin leave, that's FMLA. But when it comes to admin leave, we want to be able to say it was for a specific reason approved in a policy budget. So Paul, the challenge as vice chair is how do you want to push this jello across the table? Like I said, I hope to be out 4 weeks tops, and be back in July. If you all want to meet in June, there's always that end of month budget stuff where they have the public has a chance, they've got to publish it and all this stuff. I don't want, my personal goal was never to have this in a budget meeting. When I say budget as in something as exclusive as the FY budget, I didn't want the handbook to run and cross paths with budget. I want them separated, and that way they don't get disgusted with the very long meeting. So if you want to have a meeting, I'm just recommending in June to you to have it outside of the normally set budget board meeting, have a special meeting, or just a meeting that budget, not an FY budget's being discussed. We do it in July, so.
And that's fine with me. What are everybody else's thoughts? We'll just hold off till July.
I think we need time to review
Yeah,
and
time
be
to review
able
all the
to,
changes. What are the
right,
yellow
and to
again?
discuss
That's the questionable, or what was her response?
that needed to be revisited.
Reworded?
She said, I'm suggesting that you check for language for policy decisions.
Oh, okay.
So,
Yeah.
I'm trying to find some yellow.
Yeah,
There we
there's a
go.
whole-
I was a little slow at her at the beginning. Not the second one.
Can I, just ask a quick question? On page 16, we had previously talked about administrative leave. And where leave benefits starts there on page 16. There's the red underline there at the beginning, administrative leave will be documented in the personnel file, blah, blah, blah. I quickly thought I went through, I don't see it mentioned anywhere else in its own separate little category. Maybe it's there and I missed it. If it's not there as its own separate category, are we fine with that? If that's its only mention is in that one paragraph? After all of our other discussion about administrative leave earlier.
Yeah, we have administrative leave under item number 4
But did I miss it?
instead of number 2, but I don't think it's in this draft.
Okay. Well, what-
I didn't see it anyway.
Okay.
So
And
I
I
think that's still something that is
well, I think the whole idea is,
under number 4's item discussion.
yeah. I think that's ultimately what does legal recommend in that area? And then versus what the auditor says we need to do as a matter of policy. You know,
I was just thinking about placement. I mean, it's there. Is it noticeable enough? I mean, I don't know. I mean, because some of these other things had their own little, bolded, like the military leave or this leave or that
but
leave.
it's not defined.
Is this okay if this is just a paragraph?
She's subcategorizing the military leave. They're all
Yeah.
administrative.
Well, and
But it doesn't say at the discretion of the elected official.
So that's what this is
Right.
supposed to represent. Military leave is an administrative leave. Bereavement leave is an administrative leave. I mean, if that's what this is supposed to be, that just wasn't how my brain processed it. So, and that's fine too. I don't mean to make it more complicated. I just saw it there and I thought, well, it's there,
This looks like, yeah.
right, it's not outlined as as
but it's,
I think
yeah.
before it was a separate
Yeah.
leave option. And so keeping it simple, I think it still needs to be kept simple.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
it may need to be added to,
I don't
at
mind
the
it being
discretion of the elected
Elected
officials.
officials.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
That's the key. It's,
Yeah.
yeah,
uh,
yeah. Yeah,
Page 16. Okay.
Yeah, writer's intent is the key.
Right.
And by the way, next time you see Lisa, I've already done it in an email, please tell her thank you for doing this. This is something that she found that's been sitting there for years for us to know that it existed. I feel like an idiot for not knowing it there, but that's okay. That is something I think we need to ask. It might be hard for this Carrie to know the writer's intent.
I did not know.
Yeah. So I really, when we started this thing, I thought it was going to be really easy to redo this, cut it down, and get it across and get it done, and everybody be happy, and we wrap it up and wait for new state and federal laws before we meet again. But I was too optimistic.
Well, I think like, the remote, the telecommute thing, I mean, that's been made, fairly simple. And just kind of leaves, leaves it up to the county or the department to develop their communication policy. They are gonna do remote work, and BOCC kind of did, their policy for their remote work.
Oh, county IT is the first board county commission. So, but some of those folks do work remotely, like you said.
And this doesn't, because like the executive order, even though it doesn't mention, us as an entity that has to follow it, but it gave, some pretty strict guidelines with IT and different things as to where we're just leaving it, generic, and you just develop your policy. So. And like I said, I haven't, been through it to be able to weigh in on too many items yet. So
24 hours.
Yeah, that's how we
was
all.
not right. So
No.
do we want to review and bring back?
Well, I think, let's just,
What's
if
our
it's
plan?
okay, would there be a motion to give, take item 2, everybody promises, no pinky swear, but true promises on the flag of the United States to read through this, talk to your boss, and bring it back up in July. Is that what I heard earlier? That we will meet again in July. Okay? Is there a motion saying that?
I move that we promise to go through this and bring it up with our elected official
Cross your heart.
and come back and discuss it again in July.
Is there a second?
With the one change we already made.
One change we have
Right.
as amended.
Yes, that's amended.
Is there a second? Second. All in favor, please say aye.
I will
Aye.
review.
Motion carries. I hope I'll be back and just happy with it.
Well, you've got some light reading for your recovery
Yeah.
time.
I won't have any excuses.
No, we'll expect a,
Full report.
yes, full report.
Anyway. All right, item 3. This was a deal that is very important to about half of the employees in this county. And sadly, Brendan's not here. But this originally was requested by you. I went ahead and put my name on it. This time just get the agenda. I was like, just do this to Cassie. But that was one thing we have asked. I sent over a DA opinion and have yet or hear back on it as to, I think there was an old, was it an AG opinion or something that kind of stated, Paul, that we can't have benefits better than the state or something like that. So we've submitted a DA question. We have not heard back, so we feel it's going to be real tough to discuss. Once that opinion gets back, Paul, if I get it in an email from the DA, I'll get it forwarded to you.
Okay. Perfect.
So item 3, there's really no discussion. Item 4. This is the one that you see that what I'm hoping in the handbook is something I did not compare it against what Lisa sent out to. So administrative leave is discretionary leave granted under specific circumstances as determined by the elected official, department head, and county administration may be paid or unpaid based on the situation. There, stop. That's where it stops. Okay, in the handbook. The rest, and I looked up what are other words for, epidemics and stuff. And so this is Chat GPT, public contagion. And it just sounds but I put it there so intentionally because I knew you wouldn't like it. So we have to find another deal. But this, remember this, when you are talking to your elected official, this is their decision as to what we're looking for is to be able to back up when there is administrative leave. Section 807 of whatever it's called in Tyler Munis, that it is paid, unpaid, and then for what? There's a drop down. Not just paid or unpaid. We have to back it up. And that will be up to review by legal, discussion by the budget. Okay? This is not the gospel according to Chat GPT with Buchanan or anything. The gospel, they will write their own gospel. The budget board. It's up to them. But these categories are categories outside of COVID leave or pandemic leave are what I've found in my research are what have been legally recognized in other levels of government as administrative leave. Okay? It may be too much, it may be too little, but we're looking for things that can be put into the system that says why would be Paul, why Gary, why Leanne got admin leave on that Friday, they got it on Thursday, Paul got it on Wednesday. What's going on there? Why'd you get it?
And as far as like our munis or executive time or whatever, I mean, we can create codes based on whatever adoption, budget board would want. So, but I think, don't know my department, but I would say probably less is more in the category option. And, cause it's still gonna be defined at elected officials' discretion, so.
Right.
I would say less categories or no categories would be a better preference. So maybe that one paragraph that Lisa put in about it, I guess we can review in our next,
But-
29th of July and see what our elected official
The key thing is to have some drop-down options. That's my goal, that's my bottom line. I think if we don't do that, we're putting the county at risk. If we don't do that. I think executive time does a better job of some drop-downs. It doesn't get translated in, this. That's what we're trying to do, is have this similar options that executive time has translated over here in Thailand units. And that way, when the auditors look at it, they can say, oh, cool. Because I know our office, we had 58. And then we 54 of them have COVID. But there was no way that the auditor.
Yeah, and that's something I can discuss, like Matt and Christie too, to see what from the executive time and the type of unit side, what we can do maybe on that side to make that option, fix that.
You have to be able to.
So that language that says shall be available and selected as part of the county's timekeeping software program. We're good with that, and these like more detailed options are sort of for this county software, not necessarily the handbook. Is that what we're
Right.
saying? We just want
Yes.
those to be available as
And
this part of the county's timekeeping software program.
those are suggestions.
Right.
So maybe from the part where Lisa added, we can
And we don't
say, codes will be developed, not listing all of it in the handbook, but just, we will
Have to say
develop
codes
that.
will be developed.
Right, exactly, for the timekeeping system,
What I want,
but,
I mean, if they want something that where, when they look at the codes and they're matching it up with the handbook. So if you go back to what Lisa. Instead of just saying on the, where she put down the top, as well as forms of paid administrative leave, instead of such as, just put in parentheses and list the different ones that we're going to have codes for.
so it,
And you don't have to define each one.
right, yeah. Yeah. But that's like a little cheat sheet, for you when you're talking to your elected official. Office closures, boy, we got a great example this week. Everybody get home quickly. It's gonna be hail the size of stuff. Okay.
And then nothing's going to.
And then nothing. So. at
well,
least we're out.
the weather ones and stuff are already in there,
Right. So we
Matt
have,
auto populates that for us, thank goodness. And we don't have to add that to everybody's time sheet.
but I think,
Bereavement's there, jury, I believe is there, education's one of them.
I'm just saying, when you sit down with
but-
your boss and say, we're gonna be voting, Paul is gonna be presenting this to the budget. And I know you're fairly.
We are electing Paul.
But when you say, you all have all these choices, right? that's when you can define, well, what do you mean recognition, reward? Okay, employee of the month. Or, Paul saved somebody from a burning house or something, whatever it is, and say, we gave him the day off. Stuff like that. What? It's just so the auditor can see it, but just so the public knows what he spent that money on. I know it. Okay? So,
But
Paul, like you
this
said,
is not
those
part of the
suggestions
handbook.
are, I'm saying it shouldn't be part of it. Now,
I would agree that no,
this Carrie over here and the other Lisa may say, let's put it, right? But I'm just saying, you go sit with your bosses, go over this stuff. You've had this for 2 months now. So sit down with your boss and say, what are you comfortable with, right?
Okay.
You want it shorter or whatever. But all these things can happen. That's why they're listed.
Yeah.
When I went into Chat GPT, I said, give me what examples of what governments use for administrative leave, whether it's county, state, or local. And it listed off all those. Sometimes too much. Gets you in trouble. All right? Everybody cool? Everybody happy? Right. So that's just there as an example. I would like to, I don't know if we have to have a motion to accept. It's just, so,
no action.
yeah, no action needed. Guys, my big deal is pushing the jello across the table, and I haven't done a very good job. I really haven't. But it's important. Don't forget how important this is to the county and the employees and to the elected officials. It's
I've
critical.
done a fine job.
Well, thank you. I'm tougher on myself. So my goal was to get all this done by the end of May. And it's because I'm the knee replacement surgery, and I just want to get it done and say, look at me, what I did. And sit at home and watch soap opera.
Or we can find you something.
I know. Anyway, so I appreciate everybody's input, but what's critical is for you to go to your boss and get their input. And when we come back to discuss, we know how to deal with things. All
So
right?
do we have are we having a special meeting then for
It'll be-
July?
The goals in July.
Handbook special, July.
Yes.
I'll
Okay.
get with you all on the
Okay.
date.
Yeah, if I'm back, depending on when I'm back, yeah, all in. But Paul's does great work in all the stuff that he participates in and shares. And I have no doubt that if I'm not here, that we will move forward.
We will move forward.
I find out who the hell are back. I have no idea who are all for the court clerks. You don't have any alternate. You should.
It's
All right.
No alternate until we hire first.
Are there any citizens who would like to participate? Denise?
no, thank you.
Okay. Carrie, the other Carrie? Carrie 2, Carrie 1,
Carry with
Carrie
the
2?
C and carry with the K.
Any board comments? Motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Motion carries. Thank you.
You.
Oh.